எய்தலில்லை செல்வம் மொய்த்துக் கொள்க. Without learning, there is no wealth that can be attained. Education is the true source of prosperity. A very good morning to everyone gathered here. I'm excited to extend a heartfelt welcome to our esteemed college management, our distinguished dignitaries, our respected principal, our dedicated faculty members, our placement team, and of course, our vibrant student community. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the Nexus 2.0 Thought Leadership Series panel discussion on the topic of Fintech Landscape, Future Trends and Emerging Opportunities, organized by Easwari Engineering College. I would like to invite our choir girls to enlighten this momentous event by singing the Tamil Thavarth. I request all of you to rise up.
நீராரும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்த கெழிலொழுகும் சீராரும் வதனமென திகழ்பரத கண்டமிதில் திக்கனமும் மதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தர்க்க சிறு பிறை நுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திரும்பியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே.
Thank you. It's wonderful to see so many eager minds gathered to witness the Nexus 2.0 who are ready to delve into one of the most dynamic and rapidly evolving sectors of our time. We have gathered a distinguished panel of experts who will share their insights, experiences, and predictions about the future of fintech. They have come from diverse backgrounds, bringing a wealth of knowledge and a variety of perspectives that will enrich our discussion. We will explore key topics such as the impact of artificial intelligence, the rise of decentralized finance, and the role of regulatory frameworks in shaping the future of financial services. I request you all to engage actively in this conversation. Your questions and insights are invitable, and we want to create an interactive environment where everyone feels empowered to contribute. We take a moment to introduce ourselves. I am Madhushri and I am sharing the stage with Sai Anush and Ritanya, three humble students of Easwari Engineering College who are thrilled to honor the Master of Ceremony Nexus 2.0 Fintech Landscape, Future Trends and Emerging Opportunities. Now I invite Sai Anush to address the initiative Nexus 2.0 Thought Leadership Series.
Good morning, one and all present here. Before delving into the discussion, I would like to acknowledge the remarkable institution that brings us together, Easwari Engineering College. Easwari Engineering College, established in the year 1996, affiliated to Anna University, which is located in Chennai, stands out for its unwavering commitment to academic excellence and holistic development. Easwari Engineering College holds NAC A grade, and the college offers 15 undergraduate programs and 7 postgraduate programs in engineering, technology, and as well as management. With commitment to produce future innovators, engineers, and leaders, our institution's ranking stood at 151 to 200 in the engineering category by the NIRF. With a record of 98% in placement records over a period of 25 years, our college is known for its strong industry connections and emphasis on research to deliver the best students to the future world. Our distinguished faculty members with vast academic and industry experience inspire students to achieve excellence and competence, ensuring all-round development. On the whole, our campus community encourages both learning and creativity by providing a supportive environment. At Easwari Engineering College, we are dedicated to shaping future leaders and enriching the community through education. Nexus, it is an exciting initiative by Easwari Engineering College aimed at establishing strong connection between students and the industry. As we celebrate the second edition of Nexus, we are eager to explore the dynamics of fintech. diving into future trends and emerging technologies. By bringing industry expert to a campus, we are not only bridging the gap between academy and the corporate world, but also opening doors to a wealth of opportunities for the students. Nexus 2.0 is committed to educating and empowering students, and this initiative is designed to provide valuable insights, encourage questions, and foster engaging discussions that will deepen the understanding of the fintech sector. Together, let's ignite our passion for innovation and seize the exciting opportunities that await us in this rapidly evolving landscape. Now I invite Madhushri to introduce the moderator and the panelists.
We have now reached the most anticipated segment of the morning. I call upon our beloved principal, Dr. P. Daivasundari ma'am, onto the stage to felicitate the moderator. A huge round of applause as we welcome Mr. Naren Sundram sir, who is an icon of success, onto the stage. Sir is the country head from Sagent. Sagent is a blooming company that powers banks and lenders to make loans, simplifies home ownership, and makes it safer for millions of consumers. Naren Sundram sir had earned his Electronics and Communication Engineering degree from SSN College of Engineering. He has held several executive positions in Mr. Cooper prior to Sagent. His unstoppable spirit and passion for change has been evident in his volunteering for several social initiatives in collaboration with the government. He has also volunteered in the Chennai Tricolor Initiative, contributing to the development of a platform aimed at becoming the one app for life in Chennai. We are extremely delighted to have you with us today, sir.
Next in line, we have the living testimony of achievement, Mr. Giridhar Rajan. Sir, we welcome you onto the stage. Wells Fargo and Company is a diversified, community-based financial services company with approximately $1.9 trillion in assets. Giridhar Rajan sir holds a BE in Mechanical Engineering from Anna University, Chennai, a postgraduate diploma in marketing from Annamalai University, and a master's degree in economics from Indira Gandhi National Open University. His diverse experience shines through his roles as a data scientist at leading companies like IBM, TCS, and Chubb. With an extensive background in data mining, unstructured data analysis, statistical and machine learning models, and complemented by a strong proficiency in AWS ecosystems, including Lambda, Batch, Glue, RDS, and EMR. We extend a warm welcome to you, sir.
It is with great pleasure that we welcome the indication of accomplishment, Mr. P. Vijayanand, on the stage. Mr. P. Vijayanand sir is the Director of Technical Competence, Worldline Global Services. With advanced payment technology, local expertise and solutions customized for hundreds of market and industries, Worldline powers the growth of over 1 million businesses around the world. He holds a bachelor's degree in mathematics and a master's degree in computer science, both from Bishop Heber College. He is an accomplished professional with over 19 years of experience in the software industry. He has undertaken various roles including senior technical architect, project manager, software developer, web developer, trainer and motivator. His career journey has been defined by an unwavering pursuit of excellence in crafting sophisticated web and desktop solutions. We are truly thrilled to have you join us today, sir.
In succession, we invite Mr. S. Srinivasan, an eminence of excellence in technology, onto the stage. Mr. S. Srinivasan is the Director of Engineering at PayPal. PayPal is an American multinational financial technology company operating an online payment systems in the countries that support online money transfers. Srinivasan sir holds a Master of Science degree in Information Technology from Bharathidasan University. As a pioneering leader, he has developed payments engineering products for global front-runners such as PayPal and FIS. He has built complete end-to-end product features and solutions for international markets using an inner source engineering model at PayPal with an extensive experience in building valid payment solutions from start to finish. He has led teams in developing world-class high-scale settlement systems specializing in ACH, card and tokenization areas. We are incredibly honored to have you with us today, sir. We are very delighted to have you all with us on stage. Thank you, sirs, for joining us today. In spite of your busy schedule, I am sure our students are eager to gain knowledge from you all. Without further ado, let's start this section. Over to you, sir.
Your principal and academic, all the college institutions for hosting us. Very warm hospitality in the morning. Thanks. And I was actually telling the campus itself has a very positive vibe, right? The environment have to flourish the people. So I think you're all lucky to be in this campus. So make use of it, right? The area is all about fintech, right? Fintech has been buzzing, and credits to the industry, marketing, and all these things. But it's always been existing, right? So people ask questions about what is a financial services organization, what is a fintech. So they ask a lot of these questions. One credit I wanted to give to all the panel members is everyone have expertise in different areas, but we are actually coming together. One common theme or first question that everyone asked was, what will be useful for the students, right? So this session or this 1 hour wanted to be very useful for you, right? Feel free to ask questions, reach out to us, and continuous engagement is the way to learn, right? So with that, I've actually structured this next 1 hour in a way where we will be welcoming the speakers who are expertise in this area, give like few minutes for them to talk about their area and how that will relate or impact you as a student, right? Let it be blockchain, AI, ML, regulation and compliance, right? So each of the experts will actually deep dive into that. And then there are a lot of questions that have come from you all. So we have also categorized some questions around the obvious AI, ML, Gen AI part, and what is strategy, what is innovation considering a fintech organization. And also there's a lot of questions about career guidance, the focus from the students, right? So we have structured in a way that it will be useful for you. So this is a format that we are actually going to experience in next 1 hour, right? So with that, I wanted to, the very warm welcome and thanks for the person who introduced all of us. A lot of work has gone there. Credit to you all. Thank you all. So first of all, I wanted to welcome Mr. Vijayanand, who's from Worldline, and I wanted him to introduce the details that is not there, and also give an overview about the blockchain, how blockchain is actually disrupting the fintech or the ecosystem around us itself, right? Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, which was not told us, I started my career as a lecturer only. So this is a different thing. And we slowly automated the complete college. And after that, I dived into the software industry. That's how my career started. And going to fintech as a blockchain, can I take that? Hello. Yeah. So fintech comes with great responsibility. The risk actually, if you take any industry, the risk that we have is a little bit lesser when you compare to a financial sector, right? We are very much cautious. If some amount is going on, what will happen? Will it go to the end user? Is someone stealing our money in between? So like that, it has a great responsibility which has to be taken care. And we know this banking sectors, right? So banking actually, most of our whatever today we have is ruled by the banks, right? The major players are the banks. Now, from that actually, on those days when we say that if I want to transfer from money from India to New York, it will take at least 2 to 3 days, right? In transferring. It is not that it goes instantly as we do nowadays and all. So it takes a longer time because there are many checkpoints that it needs to be crossed before the actual money is getting transferred. And there are multiple checkpoints when it comes. Then it becomes the possibility that anyone who hacks a particular point can take hold of it and he can give his own data, right? So that becomes serious. Then what was the ultimate goal? Point-to-point connection, or everybody having everything, right? So what does blockchain helps us? We are able to connect with each and every. Say for example, if there is a network team, or if there is a team of 10 members, all of the 10 members have the data with them. Yes or no? So in this concept, what we have, all the 10 members will be having the data. So no one will be, so nothing can be interrupted, or nothing can be changed in between, because all of them hold the data. They know what is the end user having, how much money he has, or how much. So in this, we came into the cryptocurrency is one use case of this blockchain, right? So there are many use cases that you can go. It is taken in the medical industry as well as in the healthcare industry, medical or healthcare, or also in the real estate industry. It is widely growing. So what we do here that is point to point. So everybody is having the data on all the thing. So if you want to change, it becomes difficult for making it. Okay. So now it is good. What is the drawback of it? Have you seen that? Why blockchain came into establishment? This concept came long back, right? But still we are not so much grown up. Have you searched why? What are some of the reasons of it? Any ideas? It's too slow, right? Have you checked it? So it is too slow, and the processing or CPU which comes, it's at a high cost, and it is not able to establish because of the too much slow. It is, we are not able to make it high speed. And at the same time, why we rely on blockchain? We say that the data is not, we cannot corrupt the data, or the data whatever is it is unauthenticated. But for that also there is have you heard of quantum computing? Yes, no? Quantum computing. So actually quantum computing totally behaves in a different. When we are in watch, it observes differently. When we are not in watch, it reacts in a different way. With quantum computing, we can break this also, the blockchain concept also. So this again becomes a reliability issue. What is it? So what should be done for, I think the basic concepts of blockchain, what we do in mining, blocks created, that you are all aware of it, right? Nothing special there. So what should be your focus? Where you are doing it? Blockchain is a very beautiful concept, but the problems are there is the computing speed or the slowness. How do you tackle this? If you come up with a solution of making this much faster, then it can be done. At the same time, even the reliability which we say of blockchain is sometimes disrupted with the help of quantum computing. So how we are going to tackle this? If these two are addressed, maybe the future may be full of blockchain. And actually, banks are not letting this to happen in a more growth, because their industry will get spoiled, right? Because of this, when we are bringing this, everybody can own their own bank. They can create their own banks and they can do it. So in that case, it is a problem for the main banking sectors also, how they can proceed further, because that is the major revenue that they have, and that will become disrupted. So these are the cases which is affecting it. What could be done is a centralized. Again, we say blockchain is a decentralized. Then why do you go again for a centralized? A centralized concept is definitely needed by a government sector, which can take over the responsibilities of creating what is the rules and regulation that needs to be followed, so that it can be proceed further. So that's a short note of blockchain. If you have any questions, I am ready to answer.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have a separate Q&A at session as well. So, Mr. Vijayanand sir actually spoke about how technology adoption is actually challenged in the financial services industry, right? So, financial services industry are actually created to solve the financial needs and support the financial needs of all the common people. But it comes with regulations and compliance, right? So that is where some of the complex problems are actually given out separately for a group of unit or a group of people to go and solve it, right? That is where we see a lot of fintechs are coming out from a larger organizations, right? So with that, other technology disruption that we are actually see, right? Earlier, computing and storage was costly. That's why technology adoption was little less. When computing and storage actually is being available for everyone, and there is going to be a clear way of defining before Gen A and after Gen A, right? With that, I wanted to invite Mr. Giridhar to give a brief about how the industry is actually disrupting and how students can actually prepare in this way of AI and ML space. Over to you, Giridhar. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Naren. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So I'll talk a little bit about how I moved to the AML space before I actually start. So after college, I got placed with IBM, and I started as a normal developer, Java developer. But there was an opportunity which came up where I could explore some new technologies within my project. So I actually volunteered for that opportunity, and I got an I get to move to that project. So that was how I started with my AML space around 8-9 years back. So the last 9 years I have been with the AML almost in the depths and breadths of AI. So from the very basic machine learning to the advanced GPT models, I have good hands-on experience. I've worked on almost all of these technologies. So going into the so if you see at the last couple of years, so maybe in the 2 to 3 years, there will be a disruptive technology of generative AI. So yeah, before going to generative AI, how many of you have used ChatGPT for your assignments? Yes, all of us. Yeah, that's so. One thing it has helped all of us is basically to improve our productivity. So not only at the academic space, or also at the corporate level, what we see is like using these advanced tools, generative AI tools, has improved the productivity. So I'll go with one of the recent reports from Google. So what Google has said is like almost 30% of their code base is predominantly artificial intelligence generated. So so this is how the high impact of generative AI, if you see. And yeah, so before going into this, I'll tell you what is generative AI. Generative AI is basically a subset of artificial intelligence, where artificial intelligence is being used to generate content. So it could be images, it could be text, and it could be voice, it could be videos as well. So currently multimodal models have come that could generate videos as well. And how are these large models trained? So do any of you have any idea how these models are trained? So you might be hearing like Llama was trained on 60 billion parameters, ChatGPT was 30 billion parameters. So basically what companies do is like they take these plain models and they pre-train it on a large set of data. So it could be billions and billions of text images, and it could be anything. And they make the models understand the general context of what is the language about. So if I'm saying something like the cat jumped on the wall, the is followed by cat. So this nuances, this understanding of the text pattern is being fed to the model by our pre-training. And once we have pre-trained these models, we are using it for our various use cases. So coming into a case like banking, with respect to banking, we have a lot of use cases. Something like, so how many of you call HDFC customer care on a daily basis? Or not on a daily basis, maybe we call our bank customer care for some of our needs. So this is huge volumes of data which the banks could get insights from. So if somebody is looking for a certain credit card product, so all this data is being used by the banks to create contents create products which would be ideal for each and individual customer. So curated contents, curated products. So these are some of the use cases within the fintech. And also another one more use case that's recently evolving is using AI for fraud detection. So if somebody is using your credit card or debit card, so there is a pattern here that we could understand from the previous usages, and we could flag these flag these transactions as fraud transactions. And if you see down the line, probably like around 5 to 10 years down the line, it would be a hybrid approach where 50% would be a banker and 50% would be AML curated content. So where the users could where the each individual products would be curated for the customer, and those would be given to you by a banker. And so, and one focus what we see is like, and one technology and one key focus area that we see in the generative AI space where people are lacking is how to use these large language models. So you may use ChatGPT, you may use Gemini. There are a lot of large language models which are being developed. But how can customers or how can individuals use or enterprise use these advanced large language models for our benefits? So for that, there are certain techniques that are there. So prompting is one of the techniques where they have to just give a prompt to the ChatGPT. So in normal queries that you give to your ChatGPT to get a response. But one of the challenge with the ChatGPT kind of an approach is you don't have any enterprise content. So all ChatGPT, Gemini, all these are trained on common knowledge base. It is not specific to any particular industry, or it is not specific to any particular domain. So we have to curate this ChatGPT or any of these large language models for our for our needs. So there are multiple approaches there, like retrieval augmented generation is one thing that is an agentic approach. So where we are using agent to capture the content of the GenAI, and also fine tuning large language models. So these are some of the skill sets that we are actually looking for when we are looking higher in the AML space. So,
thank you, Giridhar. The biggest takeaway from you all, right? He was actually telling like how he started as a Java programmer. That is, programming is crucial, right? I know a lot of people get into packages, functions, and all those things, but understanding the core programming concepts are critical, right? With that, right? He mentioned about the foundations, the investment that has gone into foundations, and there is a lot of opportunities to build applications on top of this foundational models, right? And a lot of people confuse with is the same regulations, compliance that apply to financial services. Can the fintech can move away from that, right? So with that, so let's take like just a segue, right? Segue from that. Does people appreciate deepfake? No. So we need a strong regulation, even if it is going to be useful, or it can be a fraudulent kind of an activity, right? That's where there is a stringent regulation and compliance on a financial transactions is critical. So I request Mr. Srinivasan to talk about how financial regulation and compliance are actually monitoring these financial services organizations and fintech organizations. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Naren. Hope you can hear me. Yeah, so first of all, I would like to give some clarity around what is fintech, what is bank, right? We need to really understand. So the way I see it is every bank is fintech, but not every fintech cannot be a bank. So there are two different things. So bank has higher regulation, they need to obtain license and they can hold funds, they can hold all of our money. But they need to be fintech because like technologically they should be advanced, but otherwise no one will use bank. Right? So whereas fintech, they can do a lot of things with technologies, but they cannot be a bank unless the regulator approves them to be a bank, right? So there are a lot of technologies come every single day. You see innovations happening and all of that, right? But there has to be some governance on how these technologies are being used, like tools. For example, we always know atomic energy can be used for a positive or a negative purpose, right? Because it's very powerful. But the way we use it it creates impact on that side. You use it for positive things, it creates a lot of positive impact. Similarly, the negative impact, right? So when it comes to fintech, you are going to provide services using technologies for managing financial services, right? So which means it has to be definitely regulated. For example, as a user, you send a message to someone. If message doesn't go, yes, you will be disappointed, and particularly when you're sending to your girlfriend or boyfriend, you are definitely going to be very much disappointed, right? But when you send money, when you pay your fees, online fees, right? If it fails, but it got debited from your account, you will be completely shattered, right? My God, what happened? Where my money is gone? Where should I go? There comes the regulation. So without the regulations, because message you can resend, because you're not going to take your money out, but your money is gone, your money is gone. So that is where all of this fintech has to be regulated, because they support financial services, and there comes all the regulatory bodies into the picture. So the way I look at it is the AIs, yes, they're helping, but they're helping making a lot of recommendations on how insights and recommendations on how you can improve your business, how you can best serve your customer. But when it comes to real money movement, payment transaction, it cannot be just using any technology in any ways which you want. It has to be regulated, it has to be approved by the regulatory body. So that's where in the last several years, initially the regulator did not understand what a fintech is. 25 years ago, it was only banks in India, nothing else. PayPal was founded like 25, 30 years before, right? So, but now we know a lot of fintech companies in India and globally. So they have evolved over a period, and regulator also equally evolved in parallel. And some of you might already know, in the last 2 years, if you see the news, MasterCard was banned to give new cards because they are not compliant in something. For example, in India, regulator wants data localization, which is if you are a fintech, you need to store the data only in India. You cannot take the data out because that's our property, that's our asset. And MasterCard was not compliant in that, and they were blocked to give any new cards to customers for a few months until they become compliant. And you know, many others told that Paytm was blocked for FASTag, Paytm was not there in FASTag because there are some security leaks and there are some risks. So regulator said yes, no, close it. Kotak Mahindra, you know the story. Recently they were blocked. Even in globally, the Silicon Valley Bank last year, a few months ago, they were closed by the regulator and they came back up. So the regulator has the ultimate power. You could bring in any technology, you can bring in any innovation, but as long as it is not done in the right way, as long as it is not giving the right authority to manage funds for the customers, regulator takes the call. You could be like MasterCard, you know, there's a global brand, they've been there for almost 5 decades, but regulators takes the call. No, you cannot do this. So that's how it is evolving, and they are also kind of coming in parallel with fintech, because like I said, every bank has to be fintech. Like someone asked, do you go to bank? Banks do not want you to come, because for banks, they have set a goal. You need to reduce the footfall into the bank branch, because the manpower is very costly. So they said automate everything. Even if you call customer service, it goes to a chat where it automatically, what is your problem? From the previously solved problem, it gives you suggestions. They do this, you can do auto solve, you can change your password automatically, you can do all of this by yourself, right? So that's how it is evolving. But the key takeaway I want all of you to think about is, when you handle money, financial services, real money movement, you can use technology, but it has to be regulated and approved by the regulator. If there is any deviation, they have the ultimate power to stop you. And they are also evolving in parallel, like you know, UPI, it has changed, and we are leading globally. We are the first one to have instantly transfer money, where you are able to even pay somebody on the road using a mobile. But why it is allowed in such a scale? Because it is safe and secure. So the regulator has ensured that this is safe and secure, and it is not going to take your money away in an inappropriate way, and that is why it is scaling, right? So that is where the regulations are very, very critical when you are doing financial services, and they have the ultimate power to stop you how big you are. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you, sir. He mentioned a lot of key takeaways, and I wanted students to take notes because in 1 hour, all you can capture is only the keywords and then go back and retry. One interesting aspect that I found was the domain aspect, right? There is no question about technical talent or technology growth, the empowerment from the students to learn technology on their own. But a simple technology like you all use, he was explaining about the payment. Just visualize and go deep into how the payment as a transaction happen, right? So that is your actual domain, payments domain, right? So a lot of companies are actually, a lot of fintechs are actually trying to solve that, right? But they also have to be compliant with what sir said, right? So my request is that when you understand the business process and domain, it is actually easy and identify the right technology to apply, right? So go and learn about what is like payments, what is credit card, what is debit card, savings account, checking accounts. Understand the business process behind it, right? So with that, because Mr. Srinivasan sir is having the mic, I will go with a question, start with the question, right? There was one question that is posted by the student, which is like, as AI and ML are continuously advancing, what new ethical dilemma that we foresee in the fintech space and how that can be addressed, right? Very tricky as it's an evolving AI space, but I just wanted to hear from the expert.
Thanks. So, like I said in my previous topic that I was talking about, you can always use advanced technologies for a lot of things, like generating insights, how can you improve your business, how you can make more customer use your product, how you can solve customer problems automatically without having someone to attend to solve the problem. All of that is fine. Like when it comes to handling money, you need to be very careful, right? And it cannot be, for example, all these AA, and they have an accuracy ceiling. It can never be 100%, right? Whatever AA, if you go to ChatGPT, you ask a question, generate assignment for this topic, you will have to customize that a bit. It will not give you 100% accurate because it is reading like billions and millions of data like that, so said, right? So it can be used to make recommendations, make your job easy, makes to you to do something fast, but it cannot do the core thing of handling something. So when it comes to core, it has to be perfect, it has to be 100% accurate. If I'm sending 100 rupees to some of you, you should get 100 rupees. It cannot be 99 rupees accurate because there's some logic issue, some technology issue. Somewhere the 1 rupee is lost. Will you agree? Right? No, the regulator will stop you. So my thing is, the regulator is very clear. You use whatever technology you want to use, right? At the end of the day, when I regulate you, when I audit you, you need to show me very clean books of how you are supporting, how your customers' data is reflecting on what they wanted to do and what your product offers. And that is why I said, you could be MasterCard, you could be a giant, global giant. If I find you, if you're not compliant, I'll stop you. And just to tell you, it is not just, the penalty will be several millions of dollars if somebody is violating. And also, the topmost leader of the company, they need to kneel down in front of the regulator. It is such a serious concern, right? So, to this question, I don't think you can never get away from that ethical or being compliant in terms of what you do. Use whatever technology you want, but you have to be compliant, right? We all know the fintech wants to penetrate in all of our daily activities so that we use them. You know, WhatsApp came with the payment, right? Because they know WhatsApp has a huge consumer base. Every one of us, we use WhatsApp. But do you know how long it took for WhatsApp to make it live? They went beta. They selected only few users to try that. And then they see there are some issues, there is something happening, then they fixed it. So it takes years for them to become compliant. So I strongly believe you cannot go unethical using technologies. You can do whatever you want. There comes regulator, there comes compliance, and it is very stringent and strict. You cannot get away from that. So that will be my take.
Thank you. Thanks. I know there is like two responses on the compliance and regulation, but one thing I wanted to also give credit to the guidelines, right? Don't think that there's suddenly one day the regulatory bodies got up and then put a ban or something like that. No, the regulatory guidelines are actually published way ahead. It is a responsibility of the industries and financial services organizations to go and build compliant with that, right? I think that's what Sir was actually trying to convey. And the important point that he mentioned, right? You don't want 99 rupees to go if you transfer 100 rupees, right? Immediately you will find alternate platforms, right? So those level of accuracy and fine tuning is always required, and that is where the guidelines provided by the regulatory bodies are crucial, right? And if you go and read it, it may be sound boring, but that is how the business have to operate, okay? So with that, because Mr. Srinivasan sir spoke about the banks, how we have to operate, there's another interesting question posted by the student, which is like, does the AI-powered financial platforms will actually enable the fintech to replace the traditional bank, okay? So, and how does the future look like, right, if we are going to invest a lot on AI thing, right? So I just wanted our expert, Mr. Sridhar, to address that question. Sir, do you believe that will AI-powered platforms will replace the financial banks?
Yeah, thank you, Naren. Yes, so my belief it's going to be a hybrid approach. It's not going to be completely an AML powered platform that's going to completely give the solutions, and it's sorry. It's not going to be a complete human-based platform as well. So what it is going to be, at least for the next 10 to 20 years down the line, what I see is it's going to be a hybrid approach where the AI/ML or the generative AI would give curated contents or curated products for the customer based on probably the credit score or various other details based on their usages, and the banker or the human banker would enable this for the actual customer. So this is how I feel it is going to be for the next 20 years, but we cannot predict what's going to happen after 20 years. So extremely down the line, what I feel is like there is going to be a video-based model that would come into play, where a banker who's sitting at the opposite end could be an artificially generated humanoid or human picture who we would interact with, and we would have our banking needs resolved. So,
okay. That's just try to visualize you walk into a bank and instead of a typical agent or a teller, you have a humanoid behind you, right? To think about that scenario, right? So with that, both of them actually are pushing technology to avoid human interactions. We don't want humans to interact, right? Because we are building a lot of digital infrastructure, whenever there is a human touch point, the operation costs increases, right? That is what companies are actually trying to build. And as Mr. Sridhar rightly said, the AI platforms will be a great enabler for a traditional banks to operate, following all the regulations, right? But now the interesting question that I wanted to pose to Mr. Vijayanand was, so with all this AI powered, where people are focusing on building AI platforms, how do you see customer interactions are going to be in future?
No, customer interaction, as Srinivas was saying, it is based on the metaverse that we are planning out. So metaverse, if you have seen thing, everything is visualization, and nowadays it comes as a touch and feel also. You can touch and feel objects as if you really do in realistic. You go to a shop, you touch a particular thing, you see it, rotate it, how it looks, and also you set it in a particular environment. See, you might have seen in Amazon also, you might have seen certain things that when you get certain object, you can place in a particular area and see how it looks, how you will have the look and feel at your own home. So like that, the things are mostly generating. Not only for this, for customers, no, actually they can build their own financial. Say for example, AI can support us in what are the different ways that we are spending our money, where we are not in a productive manner or where we are wasting it. It can give you a guidelines in such a way which will help you to make yourself financially strong also. So that way also it can help you a lot. And at the same time, as previous thing, fraud detections. So we follow a pattern, right? So when we do a certain transaction, we will be doing in a particular area. When a transaction comes from a different spot, then automatically an AI can understand something is fishy here. It tries to understand, was it really done? Instantly you get a call from bank saying that there was a transaction happening, was it you that he initiated? So like this it goes on. Like this you have different ways in interacting with the customers.
Thank you. So now one homework is go take your parents' credit card, do a 5 lakh transaction, and check whether your father is getting an immediate call, right? So that's a use case that sir was actually talking. He also spoke about how there was another related questions around how companies can actually use. Please don't quote me that it came from a different person, right? How companies use data and improve innovation and improve financial inclusion, right? So both of them touched about that question as well, but if anything that anyone wanted to add, I'll keep it open. So basically the question is around how we'll use data to drive innovation and financial inclusion. That's very important.
Sure. Sorry, I'm coming across as a bad cop, right? But I can't help it. So for data also is regulated, right? Meaning when you store data, how you have to store data, and what you can share and what you cannot share. For example, if you remember, whenever you go to some app, you sign up, you create a user, you see a long agreement, which we never read. We scroll down to the page where I just see where is my I agree, go I agree. If you don't agree, you cannot use that. So you're anyway locked, right? So, but there are regulations specific to data. Like I said, MasterCard was banned to give new cards because they were not following data regulations of data localization. So all Indian customers' data, every global company, they are supposed to store only in India. They cannot store it outside. Because what happens now with all the new technologies coming in, if you store Indian consumers' data outside of India, the AI can apply and completely read our economy. Customer behavior, how they spend, what they like, what grade of salaries, what kind of products. So all of them, they can create a lot of insights, right? And any country do not want that. So many countries, China, India, they've already mandated if you are offering your products here and if you're storing your customers' data, it has to reside here, it cannot go out. So that is a data protection. And then if you are a customer, you're using an app and then you become an inactive user in that app. Say for example, you used for a month and then you did not use for 6 months, there is also regulation there. If you have an inactive user in your platform, within that period, like after 6 months, if they're not using it, you're supposed to remove the data of that customer. You cannot keep it forever. You cannot use it, right? So there are data protection laws, it comes across. And for example, if you want to use your customer data for some insights, for example, how women purchase some products versus men, things like that, you need to get consent from users. That is that agree also. In that agree, they'll be say that I'm consenting to take non-private data, meaning you should not take my phone number or name or address and something which uniquely identify me, but you can use what products I buy, what age group I belong, and what gender I am. That can be used, and that also have to be consented. So if regulator comes and audits, they want to see where the customer is consented, show me. And that is nothing but that checkbox and agree button. They say that yes, they said yes, and then only they started using it. So there are a lot of frameworks put in place so that companies cannot exploit data and they cannot even store data wherever they want.
Thank you, sir. The financial inclusion part is actually very critical, right? Because when companies want to set up a shop, they comply for the country's regulatory guidelines and bodies, right? So that is very critical. After you get this license, you cannot just say, I will just work with high net worth customers alone. You cannot provide that kind of a thing. That's where the financial inclusion, understanding the data, and then where customers are engaging and they have to report it back to the regulatory bodies that I am providing services to all the people, right? So that is how that is how the regulatory comes into picture when there's a financial inclusion part. Anything that you wanted to add?
Yes. So if you have recently read reports, so many of you are going into get into jobs, and you'll have something called as a CIBIL score for getting a loan or any product. So what happens is basically how the CIBIL score is calculated is behind it there is a model where it will use what is your transaction, what is your salary, and based on all these parameters, the CIBIL score would be automatically calculated for each of your profile. But one of the main problem with this is you need to have a credit card, you need to have a loan, and all these are for the bank people, or mostly for the salaried employees. But if you take a class of people who are the unbanked, who don't have any credit cards, who don't have any banking accounts, or don't have any checking accounts. Now what is happening is many of these rating companies like TransUnion, FICO, they are coming up with new scores for the financial inclusion of the unbanked societies. So people who are not having any much bank accounts, and that is one way. For that again, what they are trying to do is like they are trying to use the users data, as in the salary and the other details or their annual income, and based on this we are trying to come up with they are trying to come up with a score for the unbanked society. So this is another way where AML is penetrating to have inclusion, for banking inclusion for this.
Thank you, Giridhar. So, do you want? Okay. Okay. Next, I wanted to move on. There are a lot of questions around how a company strategize, innovate, right? So, I'm not specifically picking these questions to any speaker, but I'm actually posting these questions. So, any of the speakers can actually add, right? The questions around like what kind of breakthrough that will be there in the fintech, and how it is going to impact the financial services industry, and then what is going to be the major disruption in next to 5 years. Okay, for me that's a long time, right? And then what are the other technology advancement related to blockchain that will be used in the fintech, right? So I'm actually posting these questions to the broader panel, and I wanted each of the panel to share their insights around the breakthrough in fintech, how things are going to change, what is the disruption that you all see in the industry, right?
So everything in fintech now, everything is an innovation. The way whichever you make it very simple and more secure, they're going for, such as that UPI. So which is the same way. Some of the researches are going on based on your eye contacts, based on your retina display itself. The payments can be done. So you need not go for that payment thing. Also, even if you think in your mind of this payment can be done, that can be crossed. So those are the technologies in research which may be coming in the near future. And if you go for a blockchain, so blockchain is still actually we need multiple nodes. So this data is stored all over. It is distributed and stored all over, so that you will see that it is not getting corrupted. One data, if it's corrupted, it will automatically identifies that the previous data doesn't belong to it. And so where to store this? Now the research is going on the social media. So actually, if you have a YouTube channel or if you have a LinkedIn, so there you are posting a content which will have an encrypted format of this also. So it is not just a video that you see, that is an encrypted data behind it, which you can use it for a blockchain. So these are the researches that are going on. If you spend more time on this thing, you will get a very futuristic jobs. You will be very much picked up more.
Thank you, sir. See, personally for me, 5 to 10 years is a long way, right? As I was talking, defining before and after the foundational models have come into picture, there's a lot of focus around the domain, right? What technology has enabled is, it has actually given the power of technology to the business owners. Now, the business owners can actually analyze, see the data patterns, see the technology, and then solve. And organizations wanted the business owners to go and solve, give a prototype, and then solve, and then hand it off to the engineering, right? So breakthrough for me, as Sir was mentioning about the blockchain, the transparency on the data, the ledgers are actually coming out very well. Payments, there is actually a lot of significant progress that people have innovated. Means we have a person from PayPal, and I've used actually the email kind of a PayPal like long time back, right? Email confirmation. So that we have come a long way on the payments. So very specific areas around compliance, regulatory, and taking some of the compliance rules, which is very complex, and then translating into codes, translating into business rules. There's a lot of very particular use cases that the technology is actually being used. Okay. So now, fintech, there's also new, if you all see, a lot of fintechs are coming with neo banking services, very customized, personalized customer offerings, right? And also, a lot of this space are being applied into the cost factor. When I say cost factor, go and relate the way your parents have interacted with the banks and now how you are interacting with the banks. As Srinivasan sir mentioned, no company wanted the customer to talk to agent or walk into the office at all. If that is the preferred mode of communication, then the banks have to invest a brick and mortar office, have to appoint a manager, have to appoint people. So they all wanted to move away and leverage the technology, right? So the first level is going to be the chatbot or the interactions, and then taking into the deep dive, video telephony. All these things are already there, but the adoption with being compliant, that is also going to come. We're going to see that. Right.
So a few things to add, just to historically, if you also see, right? I know checkbook would be antique for you, right? Because your parents would have used it. Passbook, there was something, when you have a bank account, you are given a passbook for your previous generation. For you, you may not even know the meaning. What is passbook? I know only passport, right? So it has evolved over a period of time. Every decade you see a lot of things. And even for example, the usage of ATMs, right? Who uses them today? Very, very rare. So anything, you pick up a mobile, you pay. So the reason the innovation came into the picture is the availability of funds. Earlier, if you have to pay, you need to go draw cash. If you do not have debit card or credit card, you need to take money from ATM and then you need to pay. But today the accessibility is instant. All you need to say is you have your mobile number linked to a bank account, you can pay anyone, right? So like this, it keeps evolving, but it has to be balanced. It has to be safe and secure, and it is going to ease your customer's usage, right? So in that, it'll keep evolving a lot, but you cannot deviate from the core, right? So for example, they gave a card, you need to give a card, you need to put PIN, but you say tap and pay now. You just show the card, it does some magic and your payment is approved, right? But again, you can only pay up to some amount, because if somebody flips your card and they can tap and pay, right? So there will be a lot of, so there has to be guardrails on boundaries of how much it is safe. So the safety and convenience, they need to come in balance. If you compromise on safety and security, then people will not use it because that's not safe to use. Even I think you might know your parents or your grandparents, they have a bank account, banks will keep asking you, do you want to have a debit card? No card please. If I go to online, somebody will steal my money. If I get a debit card, I know, right, in our families they still talk. If I have a card, somebody will steal my money. In online, I don't know what they do, right? So you need to kind of give that confidence on it is safe to use, it is secured, and then the innovation scale. So the main thing for innovation to me is how you can scale with fundamentals being right, safety and security. So that's key to me. So that's where there are a lot of innovations coming in, but you need to balance it between how it is safe and secure for the customers to use so that it is not exploited.
Thank you, sir.
So one area that I feel where there will be actual disruption is in the field of customer services. So where generative AI, the AI and the other aspects could improve your customer experience to a very high level. So I'll give an example. So very simple example. So one of you is waiting at the supermarket and you are trying to swipe your credit card. and you are getting a message that your credit card limit has exceeded. So would you be frustrated? Almost all of us would be frustrated because we are unable to purchase a product. Then there are chances that you could switch to a different banks as well. So what AI enables is one of the use cases where AI is being used here is it understands your pattern. So can we give an extra credit limit? So immediately it gives an extra credit limit to the user, so that he can purchase that product, and probably later we can get the amount back. But this cannot be a rule of thumb for all of the people. So if there are certain miscreants who want to take advantage of the system, so that also cannot be allowed. So improved customer services, so that customer be retained with the bank or be retained with the fintech over a period of time, and improved investment advices. So if you recently read the news, there was a news about JP Morgan training their internal chatbot, ChatGPT type of chatbot. What it would do is like it would give investment advices to the customers based on their previous instruments that they have purchased, and the various other factors. So that's one area where there is a lot of breakthrough in the using AIML, which we are seeing in the fintech space.
Thank you. So think of the future interaction, right? As Seniors and Sir was saying, how many know how to fill up a challan, bank challan? Or anyone see a bank challan? Okay, so few people. So that is the level that we'll actually go ending up, right? So customers to the organizations, there's going to be a lot of limited direct connections. Touch point, we say touch point, right? Touch point is going to reduce. The first point is going to be directly to a humanoid or chatbot. That is how it's going to be, right? And then if someone we are not able to answer, then it's going to get into IVR, which is like automated voice recognition system. And then you'll frustrated by then even to talk to an agent, right? So that is the level organizations are trying to avoid pushing into the digital infrastructure, right? So there's going to be a lot of innovation around the customer service because that's an operational cost heavy, right? So with that, I just wanted to move to the last segment where there's a lot of questions around career, learning, being prepared to work on this space, right? One thing I wanted to mention is there is a lot of new job roles that are also getting created, right? Like it is like think about having a Google Map today and without Google Map, right? So technology adoption are actually helping the productivity and enabling the people to move into a right direction, right? How the early adopters are adopting to the technology for a career progression is actually very critical, right? So with that, I wanted to ask a question. Okay, Mr. Vijay has here. So there is a question around some of the key milestones or decisions in your career that significantly impacted your professional growth, right? I know you started as an academia person and now you are actually working on the latest technology on blockchain. I think you would be very appropriate to talk about your critical career decisions to move into this technology world.
Yeah. So actually the main thing is when you are coming from base. So actually I started my career as a base from a developer and then from lecturer, developer, then again. In this case, when you're handling, the entire project was done by me, and when we are trying to grow, we are recruiting more people and we are developing a project. But still, the mindset remains that I need to code, I need to do this. I didn't had a mindset of guiding them and making the things done. I was again in the thing. I am too also working as a developer, and then that made me a total disrupt. So actually, my team we were working on 3 projects, and I was more concentrated on one particular project which I was developing. I was not concentrating on this. So when you are moving forward, so understand the area where you understand what is really needed. That you have done it. At least take it as a guidance. See that what can be done better. but don't stay in the same platform doing yourself. You have to move, switch over to your upper level. Then only, at the same time, not only this, what the way we behave, the way thing, everything has to be moved. Then only your subordinates or who is coming further will get up to that position. If you are stuck in the same place, he will not be able to move to the next one. If you move, then only you give a space for them. This was a major drawback I had in my career. And at the same time, I was very much reluctant in moving to cities. I basically belong to Karur. So I was very much attached to my parents, and I was not. But that also dropped down my career growth. And at one point, I need to break it. And so take a wise decision and don't stick with the mindset that you have. So when you are moving, try to adapt yourself to that particular environment. If you are still sticking to the same thing, you are not going to grow, and you are not going to let others also grow. So that becomes a total disadvantage for the entire team. So that is my main thing.
No, thank you, because you blended your personal experience on decision making and also the technology career shift that you mentioned, right? So I was actually mentioning the positive vibe when I came to the campus. Life skills are actually very important for every student, right? Understanding the finance, understanding the social relationship, building interpersonal relationship, communications. All those things are very critical. Decision making, because this is a phase where you can actually make very easy, quick decisions, right? Experiment that, right? So, and location is an advantage for us. Working with a very smart peers is actually very advantage for us. So some of these decisions, personal decisions, can also influence around the ecosystem and environment that you are actually groomed to, right? So with that, I just wanted to get into collaboration as a other critical soft skill that are critical in any of the organization. You all do, right? Influence in. So I just wanted to pose a question to Giridhar, like, how do you foster, and you're already working on generative AI, right? AI as a term has been there even before I was born, but generative AI and applications to the business, right? You need to foster collaboration, relationship, negotiation, influencing the business stakeholders to adopt to that. How do you actually do that?
So, some of the challenges I would say is with respect to adopting AI is the stakeholders or the customer may not be aware what they actually want. So they have a cool feature. So ChatGPT is a cool feature, Gemini is a cool feature, but how is it going to help us? So getting a clear problem definition is one of the biggest challenges that you'll find in the AML space. And how we can solve this problem is with a lot of communications, clear and concise communications. So we have to set boundaries. So I have the limitation. So since we are working with the bank, there are limitations that our data cannot go into a third-party systems as well. So there are limitations in those aspects. So clear and concise communications with the stakeholders, where we mention that so these are the limitations and these are the business outcomes that we could get out of using this particular feature or a product, and clearly identify what is the goal. So I'll give an example. So if Google wants to deploy a emoji reaction to their mailbox, so what is the type of what is the basic outcome out of this? Are we going to increase the customer retention, or are we focusing on new revenue? So clearly understanding what is the end goal of a product, and creating a product in such a way with that view would help us to solve most of the problems.
Thank you, Giridhar. Sir, coming to the bad cop again, right? But this is a good question. So, question from the students was like, how networking is important to get a job, and how to build a professional career roadmap?
Sure, that's an important question, right? So, I personally strongly believe I learn from people much more than reading books, going through documents, or browsing in the internet, right? So because it's very authentic. When you talk to people, they say exactly what their experience is, what failed and what worked, and that really helps. And also having that network helps us when there is a need I know who can help me, right? Without which, like you are alone in the forest or a sea where you do not know whom to go or what to ask for, right? So in your career also, when you are coming to the final year or when you are doing internship, you need a team of people, right? If you want to do hackathon, you need a team of people. So it is always proven that anything you want to do impactful, you need someone to work with you, collaborate with you, network with you, right? So that is why it is very, very important, because when you have connections with people, your learning and your experience multiplies. That's what in my college days, my professor said, he said, if you give me 1 rupee and if you give you 1 rupee, we both have only 1 rupee. End of that transaction. But if I tell you something, you tell me something, we both have 2 things that we know. So learning always multiplies, right? So that's where it is important, because if you want to learn everything, you understand single-threaded technology. A single thread cannot scale beyond. If you want to read a book, it may take 1 month. But somebody reads one other book and you read a book, you can exchange. What are your learnings, insights from that book? So networking is important, connections are always important, because when there is campus, when there is a lot of things happening, you can learn from all your fellow students on, hey, what are the kind of questions, what do they ask for, what do they look for, right? And even companies we look for, one is the tech knowledge, the other one is how you are coming across as a person. Will you work as a team member? Will you work with people together? Like, will you contribute along with others, or you want to contribute only what you know, you want to learn, or you want to come across as an individual contributor, that I know this, I have contributed, than coming across as a team, right? So networking is very, very important. And for example, even in working, Jyoti Basis are asking when we are working here, sir, what is your working model? I said it's hybrid, but I go 5 days to office. Because I believe talking to people, meeting people gives me a lot of learning than me sitting in a room working from home. So company said hybrid, 2 days only need to come, but I feel 3 days I'm wasting, right? So that's what I believe. So networking is super, super important. It multiplies your knowledge, it multiplies your experience, and beyond everything, it improves your soft skills. You get to talk, you get to interact, you get to know how others approach things, you get perspective from others. So it's super critical that I would say you all should value it.
Thank you, and we also need to thank the organization, the institution, for creating this avenue to hear from the people, right? So I just wanted to share some of the questions, my thoughts around that. Before that, any students have any questions?
Good afternoon, sir. Myself, Inbatamalarisi Balakrishnan from Department of Information Technology. So I'm here with a question related to cryptocurrency actually. So will it be widely accepted and legally recognized as a mainstream of currency? Will it replace the currency that we are using currently? Is it actually good one to invest into it?
Replace. So actually cryptocurrency is growing. Actually our Indian government itself has authorized, they have given a platform for this. So future will be everything digitalized. There is no change in it. You have to adapt to this environment. Money printing cost, it involves a cost, everything will go off when you go to this thing. Definitely it will be adopted, but when you say as the investment, if you see, definitely you need to get a consult. But as for my point, I do invest in cryptocurrency. I see a huge move. So there are ups and downs, but you cannot take it as an advice that yes, I recommend it. So definitely you have to take care of financial. Futuristic will be crypto, no doubt in it.
So I'm Pranav from the Department of AI and DS, Artificial Intelligence. So my question is regarding the regulation of generative AI. So recently, image generative models have been very popular, starting with DALI and then Stable Diffusion, etc. So we see a lot of individuals on the internet who are generating images using AI and then charging people for their prompts, etc. And there are a lot of controversies over this because the models themselves are trained on artwork by other artists and they are trained without the consent of the artist. The data is being used. So these people who are making money out of this using their prompt engineering, will these be regulated and are these ethical? What are your thoughts on this?
So yeah, so when you spoke about this, even I have a friend who is running a marketing business, predominantly using DALI and Midjourney. So they generate contents for marketing for various this one. So if you look at this one, if you look at the ownership who actually owns these, I still feel it is going to be the content creator who actually owns this. But what has happened recently in couple of days or in the couple of years is mainstream companies, like if you recently went through the news, there is some article where New York Times has sued ChatGPT, where because the New York Times data, the news data is being used by ChatGPT for training their models. So it is again, there needs to a lot of regulation needs to come in, but we are still in the initial nascent stage where we don't have much regulations on these aspects. But I believe a couple of years down the line, we'll definitely have regulations regarding the who is actually owning these assets. And yeah, but that initially I would say we are still in the very nascent stage where we don't have much regulations on it.
So I know you want to stick to those, but just want to have one point. So the way it works is when there's a new technology doing something, regulator follows that. They see how it goes, and then they come to say that this is not right, right? So there is initial stage of something is maturing, settling down, and things like that. But that is where it is coming under the framework of copyright. If my data, if it is copyright, then you cannot use it against me. So similarly, what he said about the ChatGPT is using New York Times, because New York Times data is copyright, right? It is owned by them. So it is just a matter of time. Maybe in next few months or next year, we'll see these will be regulated, and they'll say you cannot use data like this, and you cannot misuse. For example, the app or whoever is using it, they will come under the regulation penalty.
Thank you, sir. So don't think that regulation is something new. What you all can connect with Manjumal boys and Ilayaraja, sir. There is a concern going on, right? So regulations, copyrights are always there. But now as the technology is adoption, the regulatory bodies are also catching up on it. They definitely will be regulated, and rights will be owned by the respective copyright owners.
Just one last point to add. We need to be cognizant of what are we doing in the internet, right? Because somebody is asking, give you your Aadhaar card, date of birth, name, and things like that. So we as users, we need to be cognizant of where I can give data, where I should not. So this also matters, because to your question, if I'm a content owner, I should be cognizant of where am I putting this, right? If I'm putting open in the internet, it is exploitation for everyone to use, right? So we need to be very cognizant of what are we doing, where are we giving our data, and if you know that, that also helps that somebody exploiting our data. So we need to be aware of that.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions from the students?
Sir, myself Lakshita from Artificial Intelligence and Data Science Department, and my question is how fintech companies address cyber security threats and how they ensure the data privacy for the consumers.
Yeah, so it's a good question. Again, going to fundamentals, right? So every data is classified. I'm not sure if you've already gone through that chapter. You have class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, and class 5 data, and each has what can be shared, how it should be stored. For example, my bank account number or credit card number, they cannot be stored as such, it has to be encrypted, right? So there are a lot of regulatory framework, and companies are driven by some of the licenses. For example, payment card industry, PCI, there is a license. So if I'm an application or a product owner where I'm using some of the customers' data like credit card or bank account, I will be regulated in terms of if you're a PCI compliant, you need to store your card number or bank account number in an encrypted way. It cannot be even read by the employees or the programmers who develop that application. Nobody can read it. It should not be readable, right? And also in many of the applications in internet, when you use your card, you will see that your card details are not stored. It is tokenized and stored because RBI has mandated no online merchant can store our cards as such. It needs to be tokenized with a card network and banks. Then only. So there are enough regulations in the digital world on protecting customers' data and avoiding this customer cyber security. But if some company violates that, then they will be penalized and they will be removed from the license.
Sure. Just wanted to add, right? Please down. So, as Mr. Srinivasan was always talking about the regulation, recommendations, guidelines that are given by the regulatory bodies, it is very critical for all the organizations to follow the, we call it like, he mentioned about card component like PCI, right? There is PII, which is personally identifiable data, and there is NPI, like, which is like all the accounting, those kind of data that has to be protected. Those regulations are embedded with the technology. You cannot build a technology or a product in the fintech space without following any of this, right? Otherwise, you cannot go live, right? So that's how it is. And if you could relate, right, the card being masked, like last 4 digits are being masked, right? The statements or the documents are being password protected, right? Those are the very basic fundamentals that has human customer interactions, right? But if you go deep, the tokenization and having that one-time authentication, all those things are actually the two-factor authentication. You will be surprised. The two-factor authentication came even before here. It was very new in US. Okay, we don't get an OTP a long time back. That is also very recent. So a lot of those innovations are actually coming from here, and best practices, I would say, not rather than an innovation, right? So just wanted to add. So if I'm going to build a financial solution or a product without following any of this regulatory or data protection, I cannot do business. That's that simple as it is, right? So any other questions from the?
For the information you have shared, all of us. So my question
was
is.
it useful?
Very useful, sir.
Okay.
So my question is, apart from fintech, so consider I have a company which is over 20 plus years experience. So what would be your advice or the decision which I must take so that I could grow my company even in the future?
So let me understand your question, or you can also educate me. So basically, I don't belong in fintech, but I have a 20-year-old organization. How will I actually establish and grow that organization for next 20 years? Yes. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And how technology will help that? Is that?
No, what I must adapt to the technology so that I would grow even more further.
So one thing is, so if you have a company for 20 years, one thing would be the technology adoption. So if there are a lot of, so one risk with companies that we see is like there is a reputational risk. So if one company loses its reputation for even for a small mispractice or any malpractice, then it loses its complete customer base. So that is something that had happened with Silicon Valley Bank. So they had have proper risk frameworks. So you need to have proper risk frameworks for each of the different departments. And another thing that to grow for the next 20 years is to leverage data. So you have the data, of the customer, or you have the data of your buyers. Use this data to enhance the customer experience for the customer experience, and also use this to acquire new markets. So if you are predominantly operating in the south of India, you could use your data patterns and you could use your understanding of the data to penetrate into newer markets. And so these are some of the steps I would suggest for for a budding entrepreneur to not for a budding entrepreneur, for an entrepreneur to improve his business.
One point, so actually, if you might have seen, you need to adopt. We all of us used that Nokia phones, right? So how it was famous, and it didn't adapt to a new coming technology, and totally it is out of the market now. So that's it. So you should keep watch on whatever your organization or whatever your company is doing, what will be the futuristic view of it. Keep a watch of it and try to move towards it. If you're not adopting, if you're not taking an R&D and you're not risking anything, then definitely it goes out of the game. As Nokia's nowhere now, right? Which was predominant in all of us. All of us might have used it, right?
But there's also a possibility like you might lose the customers at the initial stage if you try new things and also.
So that should be a balance. So initially, see, actually it is not that losing customers. If you are giving value addition to a customer, there is no customer is going to leave you. Only if it disrupts. If you are, see, actually many of the, even if you see, when this ChatGPT came and this Google came, Google implemented their thing, and which was totally, when they compared this with ChatGPT, it was not, that shares got down. So it should not, you should not take it as a competition. You should productively, slowly you should develop in such a way that your customer gets satisfied. You should not bring something that others are making, I am going to make this. So in that case, you will be losing the customers. But if you are adding value to each and every customer, you are at his point, what is needed, if you are understanding that, then definitely you will not be left out.
I would like to add a point there. So, so any company or any business, if they are trying to bring in a new product, there is a list of steps. It's not going to be a one shot. I'll implement it across my entire geography. So there is a process called as A/B testing, where they take a control group and they try to deploy this product for that control group, and they see how the outcome is. They take the feedbacks from the control group, what is the feedback, and also what is the adoption rate, and a couple of other information, and then proceed with actually deploying this product. So that's how normally it works.
First of all, thanks for thinking 20 years ahead. So, right, so you're a student, you said I have a company running for 20 years and what should I do now, right? So there are fundamental things, basic things, right? You need to stay relevant, right? So what is the current need? How my products or my services are relevant for the customers now, right? So to quote some example, for example, 15, 20 years back, we have digital cameras very famous. Everybody go to US, they buy a digital camera, Kodak or something, right? But they never knew who are their competitors. The smartphones came in, they completely washed them away. Because they are watching other digital cameras companies as competitors, but they never knew where the competition is coming from. So you being a 20 years company, you need to watch who is your competition, not just in your field. It could be completely different. They can completely take away your thing. So you need to be aware of, you need to stay relevant, you need to know where the competition could come and throw you away. And third thing is, you are a 20 years company, you have data of your customers, right? So you need to be watchful of who are all staying with you, who left you, and what new customers you can get in your way. So if you keep these fundamentals right, I think you can keep growing. That should be the some of the aspects in addition to what others said.
Yeah, that is a good question. Thanks for all the panel members. So value addition has been a key takeaway from the question, right? Understanding the customers, being with them, right? How you can add value so that customer retention or lifetime value still be there. The other thing is applying different learnings from other industries and then continue to innovate in your industry. That is what a lot of companies are doing it. And some of these larger organizations, what they do is they have their own intrapreneur kind of culture. Like entrepreneur, we know, right? You go and solve. A lot of companies want their own internal employees to go and solve what problems that we should solve. What is that we are not doing? So they do internal hackathon, throw these challenges, ask their own employees to solve some of the critical problems and think way ahead like that. And some companies have their own internal labs within the larger organization. They can easily spin off another lab or a function or a unit to just focus on innovation and technology. That's easy to do that. And some of the companies actually collaborate with research institutes, academia labs, incubation labs. They go visit and they fund sponsor. It's like the money is like very small. So they do that. So they come and ask people to challenge them, right? So a lot of avenues are there for a larger 20-year kind of an organization, right? That's how we approach it.
Sorry, one last point. I mean, running out of time. So one thing is on the customers, how not to lose customers, right? So Netflix gives 1 month free. Why they are giving? They for sure know second month the customers will go away because you got used to the product, you will not go away. UPI is free for you sending the money. If you give 100 rupees, other person giving 100. So there is a customer acquisition strategy. You need to get a lot of customers into your platform, and then you can use that as an asset to sell it to merchants. And hey, I have so many customers. Do you want to put your product here? So that's how you can save your customer base.
Okay. No, thanks a lot. I think I'll take this as a positive because if the audience wanting to have more and we have to cut down short, that means it's very engaging. Thanks for all the panel members. On the closing comment on the career progression, right, I just wanted to add, right, people ask about ethics and dilemma. Think like today our designation is software engineer. Tomorrow think like there'll be human software engineer or a humanoid software engineer. So then it throws different challenges from a people perspective, HR perspective. How are you going to benefit? There's a lot of other ethical challenges that the organization have to think through right now, right? So be prepared to co-pilot or pair with the AI engine, right? That's I wanted to give that as a takeaway. Other thing is, a lot of you have different dream companies to pursue the career. Like you all wanted to work on definitely a lot of companies also from where we represent. So go and understand their career page, career portal, read the job description, role and responsibilities, right? You may search only fresher or intern. Don't do that. Go and look up senior engineer, principal engineer, because you get an insight about technologies that are used in that company, so that you know exactly if I need to apply to that company, what are the technologies that they are already using it. So the JD job description career page is a gold mine for every one of you to go and prepare for yourself on the career progression, and follow the people. Means there's a saying, right? We become average of 5 smart people around us, right? So use the social media in a proper way to follow those individuals and get the takeaway. And last thing, being in the campus, right? Morning was actually telling to the staff, principal, everyone, right? It is very important to practice, build friendships while you're in the campus, right? You are going to cherish that. You'll cherish, like companies may think about 20 years, but as a human beings, we have to build human relationship, the friendship. Those are very important while you are in the campus, right? I mean, everyone are fortunate that you are inside the campus, not doing a virtual or a remote kind of a college, right? So I think with that, so spend time on the life skills, right? So with that, I'll wrap up the panel, and I wanted to give back to the institutions and thank you all again for being patient and also giving an opportunity to represent our own organizations, right? Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all. As we come to the close of this insightful panel discussion, it is my honor to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all those who have made today's event a success. First and foremost, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to our esteemed moderator and panelists. Your valuable insights and perspectives on the fintech landscape have not only enriched our understanding of the topic, but have also stimulated thoughtful discussion among us. Naren sir offered extensive explanations and streamlined the session. Vijayanand sir talked about blockchain and reliability. Giridhar sir talked about AI capabilities, training and use cases. And Srinivasan sir talked on regulations on electronic banking and finance. And they answered questions based on ethics, dilemmas, hybrid-based models for banking, future customer interactions with comparison between past and present technologies, security and safety of current fintech, on customer service, prospective jobs, effect of networking, on learning, and so much more. All of your willingness to share your expertise and experiences has made this event a tremendous success. I'd like to thank the placement team of Easwari Engineering College for organizing the event Nexus 2.0. They have always been a vital part in the career growth of the students, and we are always grateful for it. I would also like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to the college management team for organizing this panel discussion. Thanks to your efforts, you provide us an opportunity to thrive and evolve, and also to connect with industry experts and gain insights that will shape our futures. On behalf of the student community, we thank you for all that you do to enhance our educational experience. I am also profoundly grateful to our distinguished principal, Dr. P. Devasundari Madam, for her approval of the program with the pure intention of shaping the future of the students and for the consistent effort for the betterment of the college as well as the departments. I'd also like to extend my gratitude to all the esteemed head of departments and respective staff members who are present here. Your presence and invaluable support have been significant in bringing this discussion to life. To the students, thank you for your active participation and attention. Your questions and contributions have greatly enhanced this discussion and demonstrated the collective commitment to exploring and addressing the issues at hand. A special thanks to the organizing committee and volunteers whose hard work behind the scenes made today's event possible. As Thiruvalluvar said, "கற்றது கையால் என்ன, கற்றதை விட்டு பார், அற்றது கற்றவர் ஆகாது." What is learned by hand is of no worth. Learning something and then forgetting isn't considered as being learned. So let us take the knowledge gained together today with us and continue to engage in meaningful discussions and actions that reflect the spirit of inquiry and learning what we have experienced here. I request all of you to rise up for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलति तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जाहे तव शुभ आशीष माहे गाहे तव जय गाता जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Happy Independence Day to you.